Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I know I've been away for some time. What I was doing basically was just exploring, the problems that people as a software engineer facing in the industry on their daily basis. These problems were related to, understanding code, their workflow, or even the explaining things which they already know, right? So that also includes following best practices, right? You know it, you have memorized it sometime, right? But when the time comes, you are struggling to actually implement it, right? Those problems are real that people face in the industry while actually designing component. So that is just one of the problem. I have also shared all these problems, just few of them, on my LinkedIn also, just to give you a context at what sort of problems people are facing, right? So that we can give a solution on them. Don't worry, I'll be giving you the solution for sure for all of those problems. So now we are starting with the new series. It's called Java Interview Series. And the reason for me, to get started with this series is very interesting, because recently I was in communication with a friend who was actually interviewing for some company. So he gave me a call to understand a particular concept, and he then that is when he gave me he told me something interesting, that he understand this particular definition of the problem or the particular technology, how it works. But when in the interview, when they ask these questions, right, they still face you know challenges to explain it properly, with the use case and everything. That that is what the problem is. And when I connected with some of my other friends also, they shared the same thing, that yes, they also face the same issue. It was also relates to explaining the project also. So when you're explaining the project, I talked with at least five of my friends, and all of them said ki the way they explained the project, right, it was different, and the cross question that they got from the interviewer, those are also different. So actually there is a proper way of explaining this also. So problems like that people face. So I know the solution of all those problems. I'll be giving you the solution also, and that is the reason of creating this interview series. Once you understand the question, you understand the solution with its a proof of concept, right? So because you know that what this is the reason of having this particular concept, and this is the purpose uh, that this particular feature is serving, right? This is the problem this particular feature is solving and how it is solving exactly, right? Once you know that, the you can be like 200% confidence that you'll be able to explain it properly. Even the cross question also that the interviewer throws at you, you will be able to explain it properly, right? So yeah, that is the whole objective of creating this Java interview series. It will include a lot of things related to Java basics, programming language, and your object-oriented concepts. Advanced feature like exception handling, multi-threading, collection framework, and your technologies as well, which are Servlet, GSP, even the frameworks. So the Java interview questions have a variety of topics in it. But when you explain them, right, if you're not clear with their intent, right, why they were created in the first place, you will always be hesitant or confused to give the answers to those questions. So that is the intent of creating this particular series. So without wasting any more time, let's get to it. In coming videos, I'll be getting those topics and make sure I have a POC for it, and that's how I'll be explaining it to you, so that once you watch it, you don't have to read an article or blog again to understand it, right? So yeah, let's get into with the first question. So what is a computer program, right? A computer program is a set of instructions that is written in order to automate a logical task or unit of work. So basically, as we know, we all have seen the Hello World program, right? Even that is called the other program, because it is actually completing a task which is printing Hello World on the console, and that can be considered as a task also. So that is just a set of instruction. That program is giving the instruction to print Hello World on the console, right? So the spelling for software was an honest mistake. The software is a collection of programs. Basically, those programs that I told you, right? It was a set of instruction. You combine multiple programs and it becomes a software. Let me come to the next question. Oh, don't worry, I have not given you POC for these two, because in the coming videos, anyways, I'll be giving you very like in-depth POCs about all those concepts, like whether it could be object-oriented concepts or all those things. So giving POC for these right now doesn't make sense, because I'll be explaining you these things again and again and again so that your mind properly. Okay, now this is a question that even in my interview, uh, like interviewer asked, and it was really interesting to answer this question. Initially, my interviewer asked like, "What is Java?" So people give different answers to this question. I'll just tell you what was my answer. So started with this line only. It is the programming language that is used to solve problem, right? Basically, we have a particular problem that we want to code to in order to solve it, and we have multiple languages for it, right? We have literally dozens of languages, even the popular ones like C, C++, C Sharp, Python, Java, Ruby. There's so many languages basically, right? I've started with this line so that the objective is clear, that we use we use programming language as a tool to solve a particular problem. That was very clear. Then I started with some history of Java programming. That Java was originally developed by James Gosling as Sun Microsystem, being part of Green Team. There were a team of multiple people, like, who actually developed Java. That team was named Green Team. It was released in 1995. Actually, in 1995, it was released with the name Java. Now, there is a history about its naming also. It was first called Green Talk because their team name was Green Team, so they named it Green Talk initially for as the first name. Their extension was GT. Nowadays, we have extension as dot class dot Java, right? Yeah, at that time, the extension was GT. Later, it was called Oak, and the reason was calling Oak because Oak is the national tree of USA, as I mentioned here. You can Google it also. That was the main purpose of having it. Later, they had to rename it to Java because of a copyright issue by Oak Technologies, because they said you cannot use our name. It happens in general also. You have to change your name based on that. So they named it Java. And Java is an island in Indonesia where the first coffee was preserved, called Java coffee. So yeah, James. So I have read an article where it was written ki James Gosling was having coffee outside his office. That's when he came up with the name. And before that, Silk was very popular among in the discussion when they were actually about to name it. So there was a competition between Silk and Java, and they finalized with the Java. That's all we all know today. There is an IBM definition as well. It's a widely used object-oriented programming languages and software platform that runs on billions of devices. Actually, to learn object-oriented programming concept, right, Java is a very good language because you can explore those things very well, including its source code. So yeah, I would highly recommend, if you are a beginner and you want to get into like programming language understanding and those object-oriented concepts, right, pick Java. You don't have to do R&D on it, but to understand those concepts, it becomes very easier. And Java is very much like English like language, which even in the source code also we use those keywords to keep it simple, right? And this is already whenever you install Java in your system through a wizard, right, through a setup, it this line comes in almost in every setup that a billion devices run Java. So yeah, and that is true. It's a fact, right? Java source code is platform independent. Like, you can run your source code, that .class file. You can take it to Windows. You can take it to Linux. You can take it to Mac, right? The JDK have to be installed on that particular system in order to compile it, in order to convert it to .class file, right? And that JDK will be platform specific. You cannot use the same setup file that you used on Windows and on your Mac. That is not possible. Your source code is Java, your source code of Java is platform independent, not the JDK. The apps, if you're ever wondering like what are the apps developed using Java, so there are very popular online games like Minecraft. There is a game of Mission Impossible 3 also, very even. I think okay, this year only we got the second last part, I guess. Yeah, the Dead Reckoning Part 1. Next year it will be releasing the last one. Although let's get back to the point. Yeah, so Mission Impossible 3, that was the game created on using Java only. Minecraft, I mean, literally how many times I tell you, Minecraft is one of the most popular games on Xbox back then. People were crazy about Minecraft. Even now today, there is a cult of Minecraft that is there basically. So yeah, that was built on top of that was built using Java only. Yeah, and that is a racing game by the way. Like, as called. Desktop applications like IntelliJ. IntelliJ is basically an IDE, integrated development environment that is developed by JetBrains, and it's an IDE where we implement different types of we execute different types of programs. You know, we make different types of applications, microservices. That could be a UI, could be a web app, and it could be a whole application altogether. So the whole environment, right? This IntelliJ gives us. It's an IDE, and the IDE itself is built by using Java, right? And not just this, there is a language called Kotlin that is basically developed by Google, and that also uses JVM, which is which is also used by Java to execute its programs. Mobile operating system like Android. So Android, we know that nowadays is used by literally millions and millions of people because of Android phones, and that operating system is also built using Java only. Financial applications like Citibank, a lot of other banks are there, which use Java as their backend language. This I have taken from internet only. Citibank is just one of the example. You can Google for multiple banking applications. Actually, even for banking application, it is recommended to use Java because of its security features and its easiness with the Spring Boot and all that, right? It gets very easier to develop those applications, with this strength. And enterprise Java application like database persistence, yeah, microservices. Jenkins is it's a basically a continuous development CI/CD tool that is also built using Java only. From IoT apps, Jakarta, it's basically the technology built using Java. Servlet, GSP, they are built using Java only. They are called Java technologies only. Some browser based are based app like Java Assembly. So yeah, I mean Java language, it's a very good option to choose even if you are a fresher, right? You will be able to understand it really fast, right? You might have to write a little bit more code to run the even the Hello World program, but your understanding will be really good. Your understanding of these object-oriented concepts, right? It will be really awesome. You'll be able to explain to other person also in a very proper way. So I would highly recommend using Java as a beginner also. Now, okay, just giving you a brief context over it. I'll be explaining this in detail and with the in the JVM architecture, how where the JDK comes and JRE comes and JV comes. So those things will become very handy to you. So what is the difference between JDK, JRE and JVM? This is actually one of the popular questions that is being asked in Java interviews, right? So JDK, as you know, right? JDK stands for Java Development Kit. It contains all the tools and libraries for development of Java programs. JDK is a development program, and JRE is for execution. So basically, JDK contains all the tools and libraries. So when you as a developer, you have to build those programs, right? You have to bundle those programs in a single Java application, so that particular application can be deployed to a server. That whole thing can be done using this JDK only. right? As a developer, you need JDK, but just to run those application, JRE is enough. JRE, like Java Runtime Environment. So as it says, right, JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. This is included in JDK. Yeah, JRE provides library in JVM. Yeah, that's fine. So basically, the program where it actually executes, it's called JVM, Java Virtual Machine, right? So JDK, if JDK is the complete circle, right? JRE is already a part of it, and JVM is a part of JRE, right? So if you talk about just execution in server, only JRE is required, and JVM, as we know, is already a part of it, JRE. So yeah, that's just a basic understanding. I'll be explaining this more in JVM architecture video, and in next videos most probably I'll start talking about object-oriented concepts, the exception handling, this multi-threading, collection framework, which is very interesting, and basically those questions to begin with. And there are 100 plus videos that it can come in this particular series that will include your technologies frameworks also, including your microservices actually. So those type of questions are actually asked in Java interview. So if you're able to explain these concepts very well, right, with the POC if required, the confidence that you will have, right, that will be next level. And I promise that I'll give you those concepts by explaining those things with the POC. So that you leave it to me. I'll explain it to you. So that is the whole thing of this one particular series. I'll be starting few parallel series also, which I told earlier, like that is related. One is related to data structure and algorithms, right? And one more will be related to this interview only, like how do you answer these questions. For example, how would you explain projects, right? People do a lot of mistakes while explaining project. I have literally seen those in person also, and even saw my friends doing those mistakes, right? Those problems are repetitive. That's the reason I want to create videos on it. So that is just one of the problem. I'll be explaining those to you in those videos. So yeah, just make sure and if for the interviews, if you ever faced any problem, right, answering a particular question, right, if you give or even give an example, real world example for it, feel free to comment on my video. I promise to answer you that, right? So yeah, let's keeping that in mind, that next time whenever you have an interview, right, you will be very much confident in your interview, and you'll be able to answer the cross questions also that the interviewer throws at you. So video, that's enough. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Let's keep the code clean, and may the source be with you.